Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple scrollable UI for your scripts. In this example, I'm going to be using one directly from one of my products I've been working on called Quick Link Items, which is designed to quickly find your missing After Effects items and replace them. And at the end of it, it gives you this nice scrollable script UI, which has these different little windows within it to let you know this is the footage module, it was found, it was not found. So today we're going to be using this code and modifying it a little bit, taking a look at how we can make a sort of scrollable UI like this and display information in a nice way. So over here on the left, we have our script, and we're going to jump straight in. This is quite a lot of code right here just to generate this, and we can simplify it quite a lot. In this case, we're doing a lot of extra stuff, like we have each of these boxed modules, which contain a file name description, a found description, and a location description. And because of that, we can simplify it. So we'll start just little by little and build this up real quick. So if I comment out this line here, which does the actual create file panel thing over a loop, and then we take a look at it, it's just a simple UI. So let's start with the simple UI, right? We start with a window. We're going to create a palette type window, and in this case, it's called Quick Link Items Results. This is standard practice for creating a window in any of your scripts. And then we're going to set a maximum size and maximum width. The reason I'm doing this is so that it doesn't automatically expand or anything depending on the number of elements we put in it. So if we're looking at 300 wide by about 550 tall, that's this size exactly, right? Actually, no, sorry, it's the opposite. The width is 550. I didn't do that correctly. And the height is 300. So about this size is going to be the maximum size that this script can reach. So we're setting the window maximum size height and maximum size dot width accordingly. That way it will kind of give us some bounds that our scroll bar and all the content will fit within. Then we're going to add a group, standard practice, and a second group within that group. So we're going to have a panel, and it's actually going to be a group type. We could define it as a panel type and it will create this sort of outline. So maybe we can use that as a visual. We'll have a panel or a group inside of our main window. And then inside of that panel or group that's inside of our main window, we're going to add a scroll group. The scroll group is going to be the actual thing that is going to be sort of the main holder for all of our elements. Whether you were just adding text and text and text and you want to just scroll through that, it's all going to be contained within this scroll group. So we'll set the orientation to column so that everything within it goes from top to bottom, of course. And then we're also going to set a maximum size for our scroll group itself. Now this value is going to be dependent on what we're putting inside of it. So for now, I'm going to comment it out. Now I need some information to fill up my script with. In this case, I use what's called report information from these file searches that my plugin does. However, in this case, we'll just loop, say, 10 times. So we'll go from 0 to 10. And in our create file panel window, we're looking for our window object, which we're going to be adding stuff to. In this case, it's our scroll group, a file name, a found, and a location. We don't need all that information. We're just going to use outer element to add it to and a name. So we have our scroll group that we're adding each of these elements to, and the name we're just going to say i.toString. So it's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're going to need to modify the create file panel window. This is however you want it to be. Each one of the things we create in this create file panel is sort of a module. So you can have a simple module or a complex module. It could just have one element. It could have multiple displays like mine did. In this case, we're just going to create something super simple and say, strip all of this out. We're going to create a panel. So it's going to have an outer box. The size is going to be 500 by 100 so that it will fit nicely. It's going to be a column orientation, and we're going to add, we need to add a name. So I'm just going to replace this with our name variable. Let's see how this looks. And as you can see, it's already scrollable, and each of these panels is quite large. You can see we have a handful there. and it's the whole width of the element. It looks kind of messy, let's be honest. So there's several things we can do. The file panel size of 500 by 100, as you can see, is this here. Each one of these is this size. We could modify that. Let's bring it down so we can see how we can modify everything. Let's say it only needs to be 300 by 40. Now go ahead and run that. You can see that actually fits in and looks a lot nicer. But now our scroll bar is gone. Where has it gone? Well, there are two values here that we need to look at. We have a scroll bar on changing function, which is what's going to execute when we actually click and drag on our scroll bar. And then we have a window on show. What are we going to do when the window shows? And I totally forgot to mention the scroll bar itself is a UI element. So we're going to add a variable called scrollbar to our outer panel, which is this outer thing here, because in scripting, scroll bars can be very difficult. There are some elements that allow you to have embedded scroll bars, but if we have a custom UI in this case that doesn't use a specific, say, list or something like that, then we have to do it ourselves. So all we're going to do is say panel, and we're going to add a scroll bar element. It is a built-in element that we can use, and it is setting the pre-setup step delta to 20. The step delta is simply how fast it's going to scroll, or how much it's going to change per tick of scrolling. Okay, so we have a scroll bar defined. Where is it in the UI? Well, ignoring on changing scroll bar for now because it's not really something we have to change. We have something called window on show. When we show the window, we need to make some modifications to the panel height as well as the scroll bar information. This is because the scroll bar sort of defined size and positioning needs to be based on the panel and the window itself. So what we're going to do is sort of generate the window and all of its properties first, and then once the window is done, we show it here. Once it shows, we're going to make sure we get all the width and height and of that and stuff of that window, because that's when the data is really locked in and how we need it. So when the window shows, what are we going to do? We're going to set our outer panel, this outer line here, to the size and height of our window size and height. This means that our panel and our window are going to be the same exact size. Our scroll bar size, we're going to change the height and the width. Then we're going to change the location and the max value. This is the part where you kind of have to mess around to then get our scroll bar to appear. The first thing I would take into account is the scroll bar size height is going to be our window size height minus 20. This is probably something you don't want to modify, because what that's saying is our scroll bar should be from about the height of the window minus 20 pixels. So a little bit of buffer room at the bottom there. The width is really up to you. In this case, we'll try a 20 width to start. And the location, as you might imagine, is the value we need to change. If you remember, the original width, well, the width we still have this particular element for the window is over 500, but we changed each of these to be about 300. So let's change this 505 to 305, rerun it, and as you can see, our scroll bar is now visible. That's because if we expand the position of this scroll bar outside of the bounds of the group it's within, it's going to be invisible. So if I say make this 105, you can see the scroll bar is now in the middle of it. If you wanted to make a scroll bar closer to the left, we could change it to 5, and now we have a left side scroll bar. So this scroll bar location is really, needs to be the location within the panel, not the window. So 305, I think that looks pretty good. I like that. And for reference, the step delta of 20 is what you see every time this clicks here. If we change the step delta to say 2, you can see it's much more fine. It doesn't chunk as hard. So you can mess around with the step delta to improve the smoothness and appearance of it. This is also going to depend on how many things you put in your window. So if I chose, I don't know, 100 file panels, well, interesting enough, we can only see 19 of them. Why aren't we scrolling down to all of them? This is the second and last thing that I had to figure out for this script to work properly. What if you have 1,000 elements? Well, they're not displaying, it's only displaying the first 20. The key is in the scroll group's maximum size height. Earlier I commented this out, but this value is important because it defines the maximum amount that this can be. So in this case, we have sort of arbitrary values of 310 times 122. When I enable it, you can see we can get all the way to 100. Let's go crazy and say we do 1,000 elements in our UI. In this case, we're making it down to about 755. Why is this? Well, if I remember correctly, the height is based on the sort of height of what these file panels were. Previously, they were approximately that size. So if we change 310 to our new size of about 50, let's say, and give it a little padding, 122 times, that should show us about 122 of our elements. So this is a multiplier of the number of elements we have. If we then say 1,000, you can see we can get all the way down to 1,000. Let's say we increase this to 5,000 generated elements. It's going to take a second. We're still only going to be see 1,000 of them because we need to modify this maximum height multiplier to match up with 5,000. And just like that, we can see all of them. So that's how you create a simple scrollable UI. It may have seemed kind of complicated. If you want, just take the source code. It'll be in the description. You can use it yourself. Make modifications. The main things you want to modify is the maximum size here of your window and your scroll group, because the scroll group is going to define how many you can put in there. Modify the create file panel to create your own kind of modules or things tucked away inside of the scrolling. And then just mess around with the sizing. Make sure the sizings are all within each other and matching, and you should be on your way to creating a simple scrollable script UI. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos. Check out the links in the description to support me and my channel, as well as the Discord server where you can get help with questions. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.